6. Okay, coming in at number 6 is a classic film from 1980. I'm just checking so I don't get that wrong. 1980, starring Joe Spinell. You guys know what it is. It is Maniac. Damn, I've always enjoyed this one. This is so fucked up. This is like Psycho on crack, pretty much. I mean, it's like Psycho on fucking crack. I mean, it's just such a brutal story. Joe Spinell's character is Frank Zito. Always loved that. And I really enjoyed the remake as well. Obviously, it didn't make the top 10 list, but I've always enjoyed the remake too. Maniac Cop. This is directed by William Lustig, who also did Maniac Cop. That's why I saw that on the back here and randomly said Maniac Cop. So William Lustig directed this. He also directed Maniac Cop and Vigilante. Also featured effects by Tom Savini, who doesn't know Tom Savini? I mean, Dawn of the Dead effects, Day of the Dead effects, Friday the 13th, everything. This dude has done so many things in the film industry, not only in special effects. But a great story about Frank Zito, who is having a few mommy issues and decides to search out for women and scalp them and brutally murder them and place their scalps on mannequin heads. So, if that is not a fantastic film, guys, I don't know what is. Such a fucking classic. Always loved Maniac. Very brutal. Loved the scene with the shotgun to the face. Boom. Blew the entire brain apart. The entire head. It's definitely more of a splatter film. I mean, it's got slasher elements, but splatter for me is probably a little bit more brutal than a slasher movie. But the gore and the ending scene is so fucked up too. Great. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Let's see here. 3, 4, 5. Okay, coming in, we're at the top 5 list, guys. Coming in at number 5 is a film from 1974, the same year that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made, and it is Black Christmas. I love this story. I love the sorority house situation and them getting obscene phone calls and thinking, maybe it's nothing. I mean, I've got obscene phone calls before, and it's always resting in the back of your mind that there's some sick fuck who found my number and randomly wants to call me for no apparent reason. And they think it's nothing, it's just an obscene phone call until people start dying. And I love the mysterious character. I believe his name is Billy. The mysterious Billy, who we never know anything about. This dude just calls, says the weirdest shit that I've ever heard in my life to these girls, and then just starts killing them off one by one. I love how he's never shown. And the Christmas, got tongue-tied, I apologize there. The Christmas atmosphere is awesome. Any film where there's snow on the ground, I enjoy it. Because snow, I love snow. It snows up here quite a bit sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the winter that we're having. Badass kills, very tame compared to some things. It's got a very classy type feel to it, whereas the Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't at all. But it's brutal at the same time. Great acting, great directing, great story, and really mysterious. I always loved Black Christmas. That's why it comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4, guys. Let's see here. Let me reach over here and grab it. A film from 1981. It seems like a lot of the greatest slashers came out of the year 1981, or like I said, the 80s in general. And this one is, boom, The Burning. Awesome story, guys. Always, I don't want to, sound like a broken record here or repeat myself, but love this one from the very first time I seen it. Very enjoyable. I know a lot of people say this is underrated, but I feel like it's getting more recognized, and it's getting shed a lot more than it ever has. Victor Crowley. The whole storyline, being burnt, and the kids at the camp burning him alive, and him not dying and suffering all these burns and going back to get his revenge years later. Very interesting. Has one of the greatest kill scenes of all time with the raft scene. I know everyone compliments that scene. I absolutely love that one too. Love the acting. It's got effects, of course, done by Tom Savini, directed by Tony Maylam. It's got Brian Matthews, Leah Ayres in it from Bloodsport, Brian Becker from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Larry Joshua, Fisher Stevens, Jason Alexander, Holly Hunter. Got a great cast to be a slasher film, but it's very brutal too. And I don't want to go off topic anymore. I've said pretty much all I want to say about The Burning. Great slasher. What's not to love? Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. So, coming in at number 3, we got some mainstream slashers here, guys. This one, of course, had to come in at number 3. I love this one. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. This is the only film, well, not the only film, but one of the only films out of the entire franchise that really took itself seriously. And it is a film from 1984, and you know what it is? A Nightmare on Elm Street. Love the plot, guys. It's really what got me. And, you know, this one can be considered a slasher. I know some people don't consider it a slasher. Me, personally, I always have. And I'll tell you why. I mean, it's Guy, of course, Freddy Krueger. Everyone knows Freddy. You know, he's got the razor claws, he's got the razor hand, and, I mean, he's slashing people in their dreams, which is one of the most terrifying things ever, because in your dreams, you're supposed to be safe, you're supposed to be sound, and you're supposed to be able to control your own dreams, but when it gets flipped around and you can't do shit, that's the scariest thing ever. And to be completely honest, that's why it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And Robert Englund, guys, played Freddy to a T, and it really sucks that he's done with the role of Freddy Krueger. And yeah, you know, he's done his due, though. I mean, he's getting old. I can see why he doesn't want to do it, and I think they should just leave the franchise alone. I mean, they really should. But obviously directed by Wes Craven, one of the greatest horror directors of all time, starring Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp, John Saxon. Just a great story, great plot, great blood, guts, and gore, and very fucking creepy. I mean, the atmosphere in that one was just like blows my mind still to watch it. And if you compare that to, like, let's just say, for instance, Freddy's Dead, it's just it's so mind blowing how different it is. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love some of the sequels. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, which is my favorite out of the franchise. But it's just very weird how they decided to take the series being so legit and so serious, kind of taking it to a full, completely comedy switch, where it was completely comedy oriented with a few kills here and there, and making Freddy Krueger the character that he eventually became, whereas I prefer the much creepier, darker, mysterious Freddy Krueger that Robert Englund portrayed in the first film. That's just my opinion, but I love the original and I love the franchise, so yeah. That is my number 3. Coming in at number 2 is a film from 1974. Everyone knows what it is, and it is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've talked a lot about this film. Directed by Tobe Hooper, another one of the greatest horror directors of all time. Really, really good cast. A very brutal shoot. I've actually, you know, seen the documentary and I've seen interviews, and it looks like it was a living hell for nothing, pretty much. But it gained a cult following as the years went along. I know it was banned in a lot of places, and I know that it didn't get seen by many people for a long time. And it was banned really for being what it was: grisly, dirty, you know, grotesque, just so gritty and so grimy that you wanted to take a shower after watching it, and you really didn't even see anything. It was all left to the imagination, which is the most terrifying place anyone could be. When your mind starts to, you know, when the wheels start to turn in your mind and you start to make things up, things get really, really messed up for the viewers. And, you know, the character of Leatherface, just an amazing, you know, icon in horror, I guess you would say. I always love Leatherface. That's why it comes in at number 2, is just how this film makes me feel after watching it. The dinner table scene is so brutal to me and so disturbing, and it really doesn't even show anything. But I always have loved the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and, you know, this is one of the times where I'll bring up a sequel. TCM 2, such a badass film as well. Leatherface is good. The Next Generation's pretty fucking terrible. You know, the remake was good. I enjoyed the remake as well, which is unusual. Usually remakes suck. Let's see. The beginning wasn't too great, and then Texas Chainsaw, I absolutely hate that movie. Everyone knows that. But great, dirty, gritty, and well worth the hell that they went through, because it has gained such a cult following. And great acting, great directing by Tobe Hooper. Very brutal film. And that's what I got to say about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've already talked about a lot of these films so much. That's why I'm not going into the story. Coming in at number 1, guys, everyone knows it. I really don't want to spend too much time on it because I have talked about this film, and I have talked about this film. Everyone knows how I feel about it. 1978 classic, Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance, Charles Cyphers, Halloween. Everyone knows how I feel about it. Directed by John Carpenter. Always love it. Always will. The Shape. Michael Myers always being my favorite horror icon. This will always be my favorite horror movie. And my favorite slasher film of all time. So, don't really want to go any further than that because I've already talked about this so much, and I think everyone knows my opinion on Halloween without me having to go over it. I will say that if you haven't seen Halloween, do yourself a favor. Watch Halloween. Watch all of these 15 movies that I've just talked about. You won't regret it. You might not like some, but at least you will check them out and see which ones you do or don't like. And these are the 15 slashers that I would recommend right off the bat as my top 15. So yeah, Halloween number 1, a masterpiece to me. Flawless, and I won't say anything else. So, mentioning here a few honorable mentions before I end the video. Friday the 13th obviously did not make my list, and although I love the original film, it just couldn't make my list. I don't know what it is. I just love it, but I don't adore it. I see what it did for a lot of the slashers, down the line, and a lot of copycats that it gained, but I just I don't adore the film, so I could not have it in my top 10 or even my top 15. Psycho wasn't a part of the list. Sorry for that. Let's see a few more good ones here. Dr. Giggles, Ice Cream Man, really enjoy those. Let's see what didn't make it a part of the list. I don't want to go down a whole list here, but Leprechaun, love that slasher as well. More of a comedy-elemented or comedy-oriented one. There's a lot that my mind's not really going over right now, and a lot that I'm leaving out as honorable mentions, and for that I do apologize. So, yeah, guys, it has been a long video. I've got to breathe like 2 times during this video. I'm trying to get it done as quickly as possible and go over as many films as I had to go over, which is 15, which is quite a bit. So if I seemed a little bit rushed, or if I didn't talk about a certain film that you wanted to hear about, go over to my personal channel. More than likely there will be a review on there, or find a review on here if you want to see a more in-depth review on each of these films that I just talked about. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned, guys. Tomorrow, Chris Brock will be going over a top 10 list of his choice, and that will continue throughout the week with all of our members. I'm the Jay Sloan. You just watched Late Night Frights. Comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, keep it horror. Peace.